Greetings. This is Walter D. Donnie Kennedy, Chief of Heritage Operation for the Sons of Confederate Veterans, and this is part 2 of April's Commander's Comment. And as in part 1, we're here with the Commander-in-Chief of the Sons of Confederate Veterans, Larry McClooney, Jr. Larry, part 2.
Part 2.
Let's go for it. All right, on part 1, we briefly mentioned about the victories we've had in Georgia, West Virginia, Louisiana, Tennessee, making positive impact on the community about the South and our heritage. But one of the problems we always seem to run up against is media bias. We're in a situation now where the South and the Confederacy especially is being excluded from the media. We call it censorship by exclusion. Have you felt that yourself? Have you seen that?
Well, let's just point out the victories. How many people actually heard about these victories?
Yeah.
You know, the media doesn't want us to know about them.
Thank you.
For the simple fact that it would give us, our cause, momentum.
Right.
But yes, I've experienced that myself because of the recent rise in interviews I've had. Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing is that the particular media, they ask questions, but they're really looking for something else. You know, they throw one question at you, and then all of a sudden they divert you to something else, their true calling.
You're right, and not to interrupt you, but what aggravates me so much is that they'll ask you a question, you'll give them an answer. If it's a print media, you get one line of what you're saying, and they'll pick and choose what they'll report.
An hour-long interview I did just last week. One sentence came out of it.
And I guarantee you they had 14 sentences negative about what we're doing and what we're about.
Well, they just kind of planted my answer in there that suits their needs.
Exactly. Well, that goes back to the situation we're facing. We're excluded from major media outlets. Why can't we in the Sons of Confederate Veterans develop our own list of Southern-friendly media outlets? Now, I'm going to use Louisiana as an example since I'm from Louisiana. I know in Louisiana there are 6 to 12 good conservative, South-friendly talk radio shows. There are, in my area alone, 5 weekly newspapers that are friendly, conservative, and friendly toward the South. We could get our information out to those areas.
Well, you know, Donnie, I encourage every division to formulate a list of friendly media outlets and get them to your organization,
right.
Make Dixie Great Again, so that we can use these media outlets to get our message out.
Absolutely. And let's say we're going to have a convention in New Orleans. By the way, I've already got contact from one talk radio show. They want to interview somebody in the SCV during the convention. So that's a good
yes.
point there. But if we could develop this like in Louisiana, all the media outlets, and let's put it all across the South, we could have from 50 to 100 positive media outlets. When you send out a news release, we'll send it out to the regular big papers that usually are going to censor and cut and paste and do that to us. But these other outlets are more likely to give the full story. We can circumvent the doggone bias and the censorship of the media. And I think in California we talked about this. We could, in the Sons of Confederate Veterans, we could easily be reaching from 2 to 5,000 people. 2 to 5 million people in a year's time using these techniques that we're talking about.
Exactly.
And well, remember when we did, and I'm sure the folks will remember we did the big flyover over NASCAR, how much media attention we got. Now, all of it was not positive, but they heard about the Sons of Confederate Veterans. Our members understood that we're doing something. People who had never heard of the Sons of Confederate Veterans are going to our website to find out who are these people. These are potential members.
We got to get our name out there. Exactly.
Absolutely. I've told people many times that the Sons of Confederate Veterans, and I believe I read that in your commander's article this past time that some people say that we are a well-kept secret.
Exactly.
And we are, to a certain extent. We have not done a good job of letting the public know who we are, what we believe, and why they should be a member of this organization. I love the old saying that he who doth not tooteth his own horn, the same shall go untooted. So in other words, if we don't tell who we are, nobody will know. But anyway, that's one of the things we're doing, but we're also looking at maybe pulling over into doing some things with political action and not electing people or nominating people. But tell us a little bit about the upcoming 501c4 idea and the political PACs that we're talking about right now.
Well, we started on this back last October, feeling out to see if it's feasible for us to be involved in a 501c4. And past Commander-in-Chief Chris Sullivan said we used to have one. So we're in the process of either A, trying to reactivate the old one, but we come to find out at this past GEC meeting that it may be better if we just start fresh. Start fresh. And also have a political action committee working with it as well. So we're looking into that aspect of it as well. But we think it's very feasible to do this. The issue is that we may not be able to affect national elections, but we can put some heat on some local elections to make a difference.
And this is so important. Remember, it's other than removing Confederate names from military bases and things of that nature, most of our problem has been local.
Exactly.
So if we get busy and the political establishment realizes those Confederate people, they're getting busy, and it's going to cost us something at the polls if we take down their monuments or allow people to desecrate their monuments.
Donnie, the big thing is that we may not be able to have the resources that some of our enemies have. They got millions and millions of dollars. But I like to look at it that we have to do surgical strikes. I think that's an old military term. Hit them at key target points.
Absolutely. And the one thing that we have in our favor, and you've probably heard me say this 100 times, we have the home field advantage.
Exactly.
Right here in Mississippi, right now, right at 65 to 72% of Mississippians support our views of the Confederacy and the South.
Exactly.
They are proud of their Southern heritage and they want it defended. All we've got to do as an organization is to activate that. That's almost a passive support. We got to make it more of an active support, and we can do that. Right quick before I forget, can you just quickly tell us the difference between a 501c3 and C4? Because SCV is a 501c3 organization.
The SCV, a 501c3, means that you can give money to the organization and have a tax deduction on that.
Like a charitable group.
Exactly. But not only that, we cannot endorse political candidates. Now, that does not mean we cannot be political, but we cannot go out and say we support this candidate or give money toward it.
Right.
But a 501c4, we can endorse candidates with that. We can give money toward that candidate's campaign.
Right.
But it is not a tax write-off.
Right.
But it's not taxable money if you give to
Right.
it.
So the organization, when it collects, say, $100,000, it doesn't have to send a third of that to the IRS.
Exactly.
So it's tax-free for the organization, but if I donate $100,000, I don't get a write-off.
Right.
Okay. That's what I want everybody to understand. And we're looking into that because we're looking at phase 2 of what we're doing with this idea of taking back the narrative, which we really started about 3 years ago this past March. The whole idea was to get the SCV actively involved at the local level, spreading the good news about who we are as an organization, why John Q. Public should be proud of being a Southerner, and then go into phase 2, which you're starting here, so that we can become exercise a little elbow room there with our political adversaries.
Or maybe even flexing a little muscle.
I think you want to kick some butts, what you really want to do.
We'll leave it at that.
But that is what we're looking at, and I think that many things that we're doing is leading us in that direction. And before we close, I want you to tell us a little bit about SCV Chat. I'm a big fan of that, and I want you to just tell us a little bit what's going on there, because we're growing in numbers there. And
yes,
it's catching on.
SCV Chat started off as the brainchild of George Connor Bond, the Mississippi Division commander, a very young man and energetic, a millennial. He has surrounded himself with like-minded people and has become, in a sense, sort of like a talk show on the internet. Go to Facebook every Monday night at 7 o'clock Central Time and see SCV Chat and see the programs. They last a little more than an hour.
And that's live.
That's live.
Yeah.
And it's growing in numbers. They're averaging 20,000 plus viewers a month.
That's great.
This past Monday, we had Carl Jones on there. Everybody knows Carl Jones.
He's the quiet man in the room.
Yeah. Carl Jones spoke on the legalities of succession. And we had, just for that night alone, some 11,000 plus views.
That's great. That's great. Absolutely marvelous. And that's what we've got to do to get out beyond our own little group of people. We SCV folks, we're good at talking to each other, writing books and swapping books. When I was in California, I think I signed, 20, 30, 40, 50 books. But the problem is books to each other. If I sell you a book, I'm not going to teach you anything you don't already know.
But Donnie, about this with SCV Chat, the interesting thing about it is this is where like-minded people can come and hear what's going on around the Confederation. And then we also have on Wednesday nights what a camp's doing, what's going around the Confederation, they called it. But the big thing is, the people we're reaching, 50% of the people are 35 years and younger. And
they're not members.
They're not members. But the big thing is, 20% are women that are watching out there now. So we got a growing audience.
Absolutely. And that's what we need. And that's what we started 3 years ago of taking back the narrative. This is just one more step in taking back the narrative. And we've got to do it. We've got to do better than we've done in the past. And I
like SCV Chat's logo that they always start off with. It's taking back the narrative 1 week at a time.
That's great. That's a good motto, and I like it. And our social media, I'm encouraging our SCV people to go to your social media, like that, and share that information about Chat or any of our victories. Get on to your social media and let other people in the world know about our victories.
Well, can I close with this,
Yes,
Donnie? Everybody talks about getting off of Facebook. Let me tell you, Facebook is the battleground. I say don't retreat from the battlefield. Stay there until they force you to leave. This is where the majority of people watch social media. This is where the battle's being fought. This is where we got to fight it at.
Absolutely. Let's fight and make them kick us off.
Exactly.
All right, Commander, that should be the end of this second part of our April Commander's Comment. It's been wonderful. I've enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you folks in May.